Hi everyone! If you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Annette and I love to play with color. I just think it's so fun, and ever since I started expressing myself by using different colors on my eyes and my face in general, I have just felt so much happier about makeup, and it just makes me excited to sit down and play, and I want you to have that feeling as well. So if you aren't already into colorful makeup, then I will show you some tips and tricks on how to get started and how to get out of that neutral crease with a light shimmer on your lid kind of look that every YouTuber seems to be doing these days. And I don't want you to be one of them anymore. But if that's what you want, then you should probably click out of this video. And if you're still around, let's just get started because I have a lot of work in front of me. So we're actually going to do 4 different looks today. So I'm going to be doing one look in each eye, and then I'm going to wipe it all off and then start over again. And I will show you some different ways on how you can incorporate fun colors into your makeup without looking crazy and still feeling comfortable with how you're looking. So let's just get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, on both eyes, build up a neutral crease. And for that, I'll be using my Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. I'm not going to go into details on all the colors that I'm using every time, because this is not about which colors you're using. This is about the depth of the color and just you using whatever it is that you have in your collection. So first I'm going to go in with a transition shade, and I'm just going to pop that in my crease. So this is going to be a shade that's like a shade or two darker than your skin tone, and you're just going to be running this in your crease just to build up a very light layer of color so that we can blend colors on top of it. And this is the color that you want to put above where your crease is, so that when your eye is open you can still see the transition. Next up, I'm taking a smaller brush. I get so many questions about this brush. It's a 10S from Inglot and it's really good. It's just like a smaller, thinner, fluffier brush that's also meant to do crease work with. So I'm going to be tapping into a darker shade of brown. Again, this is just whatever browns that you have that you like to use. It doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is that you have about 2 or 3 different depths of brown, and then you build them up slowly. And you don't have to go in as dark as I did right now. You could choose a shade that's a little bit lighter, but I just want to get this transition down so we can start focusing on the colors. Because that's the fun part, isn't it? That's why you're all here. The reason why this technique is so popular is because it opens up your eyes. If you have darker colors on the outside of your eye, it makes your eyes pop and look bigger. And it's also very flattering for most eye shapes. It's not at all necessary, and it's not the only way to do eyeshadow, and I'm sure if it's not your first time to my channel, you've seen me do a lot of crazy stuff that other YouTubers probably wouldn't do, but that's just because I like to have fun with makeup, I like to play, and I hope that I can inspire you to do the same thing. So now we have our normal everyday kind of crease where you just build it out with some browns, and the first thing that I want to do now is I want to deepen this eye up with a different color, and for that I'm going to be using my Masquerade palette by Juvia's Place. This is the mini, and I'm going to dip into this shade right here. It's kind of a dark maroon, kind of purpley red shade. And I'm going to take that on a little fluffy brush. This is a little smaller than a crease brush. And I'm going to pop that into my crease on the outer corner here, just to deepen this up. And since we already have those neutral shades down, this is going to not make this color seem so harsh like it would if you had just put it down by itself. So it just gives a little bit of an extra color to your crease without it looking like you just put purple on your eye. So now it's kind of just looking more like a cherry red kind of color. On the other eye, I'm going to just dip into a brown that's a little bit darker. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm also going to just put a little bit more of this maroon shade on this eye, just to make this color pop a little bit more in the outer corner. And since I don't want any of these 2 looks to feel too out of your comfort zone, I'm going to keep it pretty simple with the shades that we're putting on the lid. On this eye, I'm going to use my Dior highlighting palette, and I'm just going to use this white shade up here. And you can use any shade that you have that you feel comfortable doing with a colorful crease. Like personally, I would love to pop like a blue on my lid, but I know that's not the purpose of this video. So I am going to spray my brush with this because I just find that the pigmentation is a lot better when you do. And I'm just going to pop this onto my lid and just kind of fade it into the outer part of my eye. So this is a very wearable kind of makeup, but still with a pop of color that, you know, you might not usually do on a day-to-day basis, but it still looks very work appropriate, and I'm sure that you could wear this anywhere and like still feel like yourself. For the other eye though, I will go in with a color because we have a neutral crease. So to get that pop of color in, I'm going to dip into my Morphe 35B palette. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this shimmery shade down here. It's like a, I'm so bad at explaining colors, but it's sort of like a light strawberry pink shimmer. And I'm going to take that on the same brush that I just used. This is the MAC 242 brush. So I'm going to put that on my brush, and then I'm going to spray my brush and just pop this onto the lid. So now when you do get more comfortable with wearing brighter colors, you can obviously move on to using greens and blues and purples and whatever floats your fancy. But as you can see here, this is like still a fun color, but without being too intimidating. And I feel like this is a color combination that really everyone can pull off, even if you're just getting into color. It's not so crazy that people are gonna stop you on the street and be like, wow, your makeup is so bright, you know what I mean? So here are two looks that you can do. Both have a subtle little pop of color in there, but it's not too bright or too intimidating. And I'm going to finish up my lower lash line. I'm just going to put the same shades that I put in the crease on the bottom, and then I will finish up the eye and let you know what the first two results are going to be like before we move on to the next ones. So here are the first two looks. The only thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop a little bit of this highlighter again in my inner corner on both eyes. And the only thing I did was I put on a little bit of liner and mascara, and I popped some black in my waterline, which this is also something that you can do to really change up a look, is changing up what you use as your eyeliner color. It's something that I love doing. And if you've seen any of my videos before, you know that I like to pop a little bit of blue or green or purple or yellow or anything in my waterline because it really changes up the way that you look. So here are the two first looks. I'm going to go take this off of my face now, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to do two more. And those two looks are going to be a little bit more bold, but still being somewhat neutral, but we're going to be pushing the boundaries just a tiny bit more. So I will be right back. Alright, I'm back. Let's do two more looks. For this look, I want to do a pink/purple smoky eye, or more on the purple side, I suppose. So I'm going to take my Guerlain matte palette. I'm going to start off using this shade here in the crease. It's not a shade that's like super bright, but it's still got nice pigment and color to it, without being like a neon color, if you know what I mean. And this palette is also not so pigmented that as soon as you put like a little bit of shadow on your eye, as you can see, like you have to build these up, which is something that I really like about them, and I think that they'd be really good for beginners. So I'm going to be using this shade as our transition shade. So I'm going to put this all over my crease, a little bit up onto my brow bone, but I'll be diffusing it the higher up I go. And I know this might look intimidating to you if you haven't really worked with color before, but just take it slow and start off with colors that aren't like, you know, like your primary colors. So like reds and blues, like stick to something that's a little more muted, and then you can build it up from there. And once you start using like colors for your transition shades, that's when you can really start having fun with makeup, because then you can start mixing different colors and like a whole new world just opens up to you, and there's just like endless possibilities all of a sudden. And I feel like purples are one of the more, I don't want to say acceptable colors, but it's one of the colors that don't seem to scare people off as much as, say, blues or greens. So I think this is like a good next step up from using browns. And while I'm still using this shade, I'm going to also run it on my lower lash line. Next, to deepen this up, I'm going to take this dark purple color from Juvia's Place, and I'm going to put this in my outer corner and a little bit into my crease. And this is also one of those formulas that you can build up slowly, but you can also get like a ton of pigment if that's what you're into. And as you can see, I'm not using the full pigment of these colors. I'm not building them up so much that you're like, oh my god, purple, right? So I'm keeping this kind of on the softer side by not using like packing brushes, and I'm using a lot of fluffier brushes. And I'm really diffusing it to make it look a lot softer. I'm also pulling it down just a little bit on the outer corner of my lower lash line. So now to just spice this up a little bit, I'm not going to put like a bright color on the lid, but I want to put a gold on the lid instead of a silver or a pink. So I'm going to use this gold from my Dior highlighting palette. And if you can't tell already, I freaking love this palette so much. Like, it's so versatile. You can use it as eyeshadows, you can use it as blush, like a bronzer topper, a highlighter. I highly recommend this. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did in the last two looks. I'm going to spray my brush with some Fix Plus. This is optional, obviously, but this is just how I like my lid colors to look. So I'm going to pop this on. And I wanted to use gold just to do something a little bit different and maybe unexpected while still being, I mean, gold is still like a neutral color, so it goes with warm tones and cool tones in my opinion. And you can tell I'm not being very precise with this. I'm just kind of putting it on my lid and then just blending it in to the outer corner. We're not doing a cut crease, we're not doing anything crazy. This is a look that you can literally do in probably 5 minutes. And that's kind of the whole point. Like, I know that if you're probably not into colorful makeup, that most of the time you probably don't do looks that take that long. And if you do, obviously you know how to do it, so you can go at it and go crazy if you want. But for people who are just getting into makeup and maybe aren't that experienced, I find looks like this are way less intimidating when you see like how quickly they can be done. So like, this is all I'm going to do for shadows on that eye, and I think it doesn't look in your face colorful, but it's still approachable and it still looks like you took the time to do something a little bit different while still not being like kaboom, right? So again, I'm just going to use a little bit of black liner in the waterline and then put on some liner and mascara, and that'll be it. And you can of course use pink or purple or white or whatever you want in your waterline, but I'm just doing black now because I know that's what a lot of people are drawn to and that's what they use. I just want to show what the looks are going to look like with colorful eyeshadow without anything else like interrupting it. I am also going to pop just a little bit of that gold into my inner corner too. Forgot to do that. And then we're going to do a little bit of liner, nothing crazy. And I want to say that this took me probably about 7 minutes to do, not even, maybe even like 5. It's a very quick look. So that's it for this side. For the other eye, I'm going to go in with the same brown colors that we used in the first two looks. But the difference is going to be that I'm going to do a pop on the lower lash line. So I'm just going to start off by building up my crease again with those same colors from the Morphe palette. Again, for my lid on this one, I'm just going to be using my gold shade in my highlighting palette. Again, on my lower lash line, just gonna go in with a black pencil, because I am going to try to keep this as simple as possible. And if you want to see a part 2 to this, where I start getting into a little bit more dramatic looks and using like multiple colors in one look, let me know and I will happily do that. For my bottom lash line, I'm going to go in with I'm so sick of seeing pops of blue, so we're going to do green today. And I'm going to go back in with my Guerlain matte palette, and I'm going to use Medusa, the shade down here. It's a darkish green. And again, I don't want this to be like a such in-your-face green that you're going to feel uncomfortable wearing it, which is why I didn't go in with, say, a Juvia's Place green or something like that. So I'm just taking this on my Sephora smudging brush, looks like this, and I'm just going to stamp this on. And then I'm going in with a clean brush and I'm just going to blend this out. I want to make sure that the outside is blended as well. Tapping into a little bit more brown. And then just popping a little more gold in the inner corner and onto that green. And that's it. So these were some very simple looks. I'm going to obviously finish up the side so you can see the final result, but it doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to, you know, mix a bunch of different colors together and do a cut crease and like do all these crazy things that you see on Instagram. Like, it's okay to just have one pop of color, use one color, that's all you need to make your look stand out a little bit more. And once you get comfortable with that, you can take it to the second level. And like I said, if you want to see a video where I do take it like one step further, let me know and I'd love to do so. So here are the finished two looks. Please let me know if you like these kind of videos. They're kind of a lot to film, and obviously I'm gonna have to take my makeup off again after this because I can't walk around like this the rest of the day. But please let me know if you like these kind of videos and if there's anything else you want to see that's similar, maybe a different theme, anything. I'm open to suggestions, and if you stuck around for this long, thank you so much for watching. I hope you consider subscribing if you're not already, and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.